Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout out, shout out, right now. Shout out. Don't wait till you make.
Welcome to the Phillip Show. Grab your coffee if you haven't already. Listen, if you've been following us on social media and online, you'll know that this has been a really big season of speaking to people about identity, authenticity. What makes your brand so successful, and where does authenticity lie within that? If you know me very well, you'll know that one of my brands is called Be You. So I am very intentional about amplifying your voice, your unique self. And then if you want to have a business, that's awesome too. But then putting yourself within that business to make sure that it's successful. Well, today we're talking to somebody who has been completely transformative in the areas of marketing and branding. She's been creating and transforming brands by teaching clients to apply their brand archetype to their brand strategy and design. So get ready to elevate your brand and help me welcome Brand With Kreda. Kreda, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Phillip. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
Oh, absolutely. You have been creating and transforming brands by teaching clients to apply their unique brand archetype to their brand strategy. Now, listen, I know people out there just got overwhelmed by all these words. I know they did. So let's break it down for them. You do marketing and strategy. How did you get into that?
So I started off as just being a graphic designer. I was in corporate America for 1,000 years. And I've been creative like all of my life. I was getting fired from jobs, all of those things, because I really wasn't able to be creative. Okay. So there was a chance for me to not work in corporate America anymore. So I decided to go to school and pursue graphic design. Okay. So I did that, got my associates in graphic design, started my business in graphic design. However, I was getting all of these people who really didn't understand the branding piece of graphic design. So when I started to offer advice about said graphic design, I would get shunned. And people would say, well, I hired you to do this, so I need you to do this. And I'm like, well, no, that's not going to look right. And that doesn't make sense because who are you targeting, et cetera, et cetera. But because I wasn't labeled as a brand strategist or a designer, they just wanted me to shut up and design.
Right.
And that's not
and I think a lot of people have a very difficult time understanding brand, understanding marketing, understanding strategy. So in your own words, because I know you are so great at educating the masses in said. So what is the difference for people listening? What is the official difference between marketing and branding?
So marketing is you dating your right fit client or your ideal client. Branding is the reason that they're dating you. Branding is the reputation. Branding is the mission, the vision, the values, the differentiation, the positioning. Marketing is taking branding and using certain tactics from branding to attract the right fit client.
Because I know that comes up. I've had so many conversations just this month alone with people who it sounds good when they're saying, well, this is branding, this is marketing, but it's not accurate. So I appreciate you for giving us the accurate lowdown, because I think a lot of people need to go ahead and dispel the myths of what they think it is versus what it actually is. Because I think that's why a lot of times when you were talking about, well, you wanted me to be a graphic designer and you just want me to do what you want me to do. It's like, okay, but that means you're really not interested in in the strategy of it all and how it all syncs together. So you were in corporate America and then you ventured out on your own.
I did. Yes, I did. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How did you say, I'm done here and I'm stepping into my new season on my own? What was the catalyst that just said, we're doing this, and now I believe I can do this?
God was giving me God was giving me signs for a long time.
Mm,
I used to design for my church. I used to design for my friends. My cousin's a DJ. I used to design some of his flyers. And, of course, I was doing it for free, or, the good old church $25. And,
about to walk
and
out.
right. I'm like, okay. So the opportunity came, and the department that I was working in was sold.
Mm,
So they were sold. I was like, okay, God, opening doors. They were sold. I had to work at the new company for a month.
mm.
Once that was done, they gave us a severance. They allowed us to get unemployment. So I was like, cool, I'm going to school.
Yeah,
Y'all
okay.
gonna pay me for school. So that's that corporate America piece and the catalyst and all of those things. And I was like, I went in and it was on and popping after that.
Mm. Yeah, well, good for you, because I mean, apparently it served the courage served you well. The courage to step out served you well. One of the things that I know that you're very, very big into when it comes to branding, but you're really big into authenticity and being able to tell your own story, because you have to tell your own story. Why is authenticity so vital to the success of a brand?
Because I feel like people are going to find out who you are eventually.
Mm,
So why not just, be that up front? And I
yeah.
also too understand that coming from corporate America, a lot of us, especially us Black business owners who come from corporate America, we had to master this art of code switching to fit in the corporate world, right? And then in the entrepreneurial world, this often becomes like a mask, and it feels out of place.
Mhm.
So breaking free from that and embracing our true selves in our businesses is crucial. It's not just freeing, and it's about
Mhm.
really being brave and being brave enough to show up as who you are already, knowing what truly resonates with your people. People
Mm,
love authenticity. Everybody wants you to be real with them.
yeah. Yeah. For you, I know, going from corporate to entrepreneur to all of these things, I know that can be jarring. For most people, it's completely terrifying, because
Yes.
there's a sense of normalcy that is gone. There's a sense of consistency that is gone. There's a level of, now it's my problem or my burden or my task. And I would imagine that people would start to wonder who they are in this process. How do I go from being in corporate to now identifying myself as a singular brand, regardless of if I have employees or not? What was one of
Right.
the things that helped you to make that transition to say, this was me corporate, and now I understand who I am enough to establish a brand? How did you process all that?
Ooh, it was I had to go through a lot, come out of a lot of insecurities
Mm,
with that, because I didn't want people to see me, because I thought that people would see me and not like me and
mm,
not work with me because of a certain way that I spoke, or or them not agreeing with
mm.
something that I've said.
Yeah.
So initially I was under Mac Graphics as just Mac Graphics, and it was us, right? So taking myself through the same process that I take my clients through, as far as like the brand strategy piece is concerned, really focusing on and talking about my values and what deeply resonates with me. That was kind of hard. It was kind of hard for me to be the face of the brand.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people it can be arresting. It can be like arresting. It's like, hey, I literally just was on a podcast talking about this, as a guest, talking about this the other day, how your personal identity really impacts how you show up professionally, and there's some unpacking that some people have to do. I would imagine that you work with so many companies and you work with so many brands, and I am almost positive that there is something that you see consistently that brands like you have to do this in order to be successful. What are the three main things that you normally see when working with people or brands that really needs to be the focus of their energy as they launch out?
They're afraid of risk. A lot of brands are people or corporations. Their plan is safe. They are sticking to this well-trodden path, if you will, instead of just daring to be different. And
Mm,
I want people to see my difference. I want you guys to be different because nobody wants to hear the same thing over and over and over again about branding and oh, your colors, oh, your logos, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't want to come from a place of that. And a lot
mm,
of businesses, they're afraid to do the same thing.
mm,
Another one is underestimating their audience. So, a common misstep that I see is just not giving their consumers enough credit.
mm,
You know, ask them what they want. Ask
mm,
them what they want from your brand, from your business. You know, we as a people, we crave authenticity. We just talked about that, and then depth. We don't want surface level engagement. We want people to be real with us, to be
true.
honest with us. Another one is the power of storytelling. The
Mm,
power of storytelling. Every brand has several unique stories. Yeah, and we all have our origin story that can set us apart, but it's so many different types of brand stories. I even have a whole storytelling framework that I offer to my clients.
mm,
But tell the stories. Tell the stories. Make your clients feel the emotions that you want them to feel and
mm.
make it personable. Don't make things theoretical, you know, and make sure that you are
That's a good
talking
one.
to that person. Make sure they can feel that you are speaking to them and not speaking to the masses.
That is a very, very, very good one. And I think it was on the podcast that I was just on, but we were talking about storytelling, how difficult it is. But I think the reason why storytelling is often difficult is because there's kind of like a fear behind it. There is something that we don't want people to know. So we're like contriving a story that may or may not impact. And I think there is a level of hesitation when it comes to asking people what they want, like you said,
Right.
because then it seems like the perception is then I'm not the authority anymore because I'm asking you what you want. But I love how you just broke that down because it's like if you want to sell to me, you need to ask me what I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's how brands succeed. Market research is one of the best things
Mm.
that a business or a brand can do. And it's not something that they can do one time. It's something that should be done on a consistent basis.
One of the things that I know that a lot of people have pushback is always price point. Like, how much is this investment? And do I value the price point that you're suggesting? Do I value the branding strategy that you're saying? Is it going to make a difference? And how will I see it if I'm going to invest money? What is the cost? Instead of saying, how much does it cost to invest
Mhm.
in brand? What is the cost of not doing this work?
One is that you're going to be lost in a sea of competition.
Mm,
Um, that's the first thing. And then it's not just about the dollars and cents that's on the table, it's about the misconnections, it's
mm,
about a diluted impact, and then the legacy that we want to build.
mm,
Um, and then you're wasting your marketing dollars because you don't have a brand strategy.
mm,
So the cost is definitely one of the biggest ones for me is wasting marketing dollars.
mm,
Everybody thinks that they can, oh, I'm going to create a Facebook ad or I'm going to do this organic marketing, if you will. And they have all of these tactics and this advertising and all of these things, but they don't understand who they're speaking to. They don't understand their
mm.
buyer. So you're doing all of this in vain.
Mm,
So investing in a strategy lays the foundation, and it lays a solid foundation, making sure that every step that the business or the brand takes is going in the right direction.
mm. And a lot of people do kind of skip over that because a lot of people want to see dollars, cents. I need it almost like it's like you're doing promos all the time. It's like I want to see this, but when it comes to your overall impact, you have to have a story. There has to be consistency. You have to have a personality when it comes to your brand. You've done
Absolutely.
some amazing things. What keeps you motivated to continue helping people? Because I know that, having clients and sometimes people don't listen. Sometimes people are like, "Go to play." I ain't gonna call no names, but wink, wink. No, it's not an easy road. Being an entrepreneur is not an easy road. What keeps you motivated to keep coming back to help encourage or amplify or share people's brand stories or support them? What keeps you motivated?
I have a passion for it.
Mm,
I have there was a post I posted a long time ago, and it said that brand strategy makes me tingle. And I am so serious about that because every time I'm going through a strategy session, I'm getting prepared for a strategy session, I just get like really, really excited. And I
mm,
think it's because I see the possibilities in people's businesses. I see the possibilities and the potential in people's brands. And it is so rewarding to me, to be able to guide people, to their goals and help them implement these strategies. Like I'm not just giving them things and being like, okay, bye, peace. I'm not doing that. I'm giving them these and I'm also giving them implementations.
mm,
So it also makes me feel good when I see them implementing.
mm,
And I also have a heart. I just have a heart for entrepreneurs because when I first started, I had people in my, I don't want to even say circle, but in my area, if you will, um, who were telling me 50 million different things and they weren't putting me on the correct path to entrepreneurship.
mm,
So when I see specifically now newer entrepreneurs, I'm always like just trying to really, really help them because I didn't have the help
mm,
when I was a newer entrepreneur. And even in doing that, like I volunteer for some local organizations here in Denver because I really want to help. That's a part of my mission is to help newer entrepreneurs so they don't have to struggle and go through the things that I went
mm.
through.
That's really good. I mean, like each one teach one.
Yep,
Like
absolutely.
I've been there, so maybe I stepped in this pothole over here. Maybe I can guide you around it, so you don't have to.
Yes.
When somebody is interested in, say, I'm an entrepreneur and I really want to start. When is a good time to start thinking about my brand strategy? Maybe enlist a strategist. When is the time for me to put some of these things that you do into play?
So I always say first, make sure you get all whatever licenses, whatever things that your state has, all those things, your LLC, your corporation, get all of that stuff first. Make sure you have a business model. Are you going to sell subscriptions? Are you going to sell products, services? Make sure you have all of that stuff together. Once you get that together, then you need to start looking at the strategy of the
Mm,
brand going to need to sell. We need to know who this product or service is for. We need to know your big why. Why are you even selling this?
mm,
Outside of money. We already know we want to make money, but outside of the money, why are you doing this? So I would say after you get those foundational pieces, then start looking into a brand strategy. And then once you get the brand strategy, then there's the marketing strategy. But branding itself is like this whole journey. It does not stop. A lot of people think that it stops once you get the logo and the color palette and the website, but it doesn't. It
yeah.
doesn't stop because you still have to continue to get that message out. The world evolves, so we have to evolve.
As somebody who's done the work, because clearly you've done the work and you're helping other people do the work. But on the personal note, what is something that you've discovered that you had to concentrate on personally so that your brand could show up successfully?
Confidence.
Mm,
Confidence. I don't even know how to even talk that much about it, but I really had to figure out how to boost my confidence. And with the help of my current coach
mm,
and my therapist, and I still go through those things sometimes to where I'm like, oh, I don't want to show up. I can't say that. And I'm like, yes, you can. So
mm.
confidence is still was and still plays like this really big role in everything I do at church. I sing in the choir at church. When I go up to sing a solo, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm out there. But
Yeah.
so
No,
yeah, count.
and thank you for being transparent that way, because I want people to know, like you said, it's a journey, and there are things that we work through all the time and every single day, not to make it sound heavy, but to make it sound realistic. You know, we
Right.
still have lives, we're still people, we still have feelings, and sometimes we have some insecurities. And knowing what those are seems as though it will help us to position what we're trying to do a little bit better. It'll help us to position what we're trying to do a little more successfully because we understand what that is.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a wrench in here. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
So I
Right.
want to do, our friends at Tails have sent us life story. You see that?
Oh,
What
okay,
I would
life
love to
story.
do. I know, a tool for capturing moments. So what I like to do, I'm going to go to a break and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you two questions that I don't know, but it
Okay.
is to help us discover and you discover more about you. You ready? We'll be
Uh-oh.
right back. Ah.
Okay.
So we are back with Brand With Kreda. Listen, if you didn't get the nuggets that have been dropped already, you can always go back to the PhillipShow.com or PhillipO'Rourke.com. But right now, we are going to jump into life story, and it's called an interview kit. But what this does, it captures moments, and it actually asks questions that are, number one, random, but number two, are personal. And you said you're ready, right?
I'm ready.
All
Dun,
right.
dun, dun.
Security. Okay. So here's the first question. What are some of your proudest professional accomplishments?
Proudest professional accomplishments. I had my first speaking gig last year and they said I killed it.
Nope.
I was super duper nervous and I was like, I've never spoken on anybody's stage. I'm really good here, but to be in front of people and talking, that's just like singing at church to me. So
Mm,
that's a proud moment. I just received my AI consultant certification. That is a huge, huge moment for me. Um, I don't know. You said how many you said, but I'm not. They just coming off the top of my head.
oh, listen, you are accomplished and I ain't mad at it. No, I think, it's interesting because when you ask these kinds of questions, sometimes we don't think of those things. And then now, like you
Mhm.
said, it's coming back to, it's like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I was kind of rocking and roll. Wait a minute. There's another one.
Right, right. I got my brand strategy certification in 2020. Shout out to the pandemic. It wasn't all bad.
To the pandemic. Hold on. I did a dab, but well, it'll be a minor dab. Yeah. All right.
Mm.
So one other question. What are some of your strongest held beliefs?
Strongest held beliefs. Being honest.
Mm,
Um, even when it's hard, to be
mm,
honest. Um, I believe in God.
mhm,
I believe in Jesus. I believe in crystals. I believe in oracle cards. I think they all, are encompassing because they all come from God.
mm,
Um, and a lot of people get a little upset with me when I say those things, but that's just something I believe. I believe He made it all. So
mm. Yeah. So
that's heavy.
You believe he made it all, so you believe in everything that he made.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for people who are listening now, and for people who are watching right now, I want them to be able to connect with you. How can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can look up Kreda McCullough. It's at linkedin.com/in/Kreda McCullough. I know that was a lot. You can find me on Brand with Kreda. I'm actually in the process of getting my website done. That's a whole other conversation. And I am also on Instagram at Brand with Kreda, and I'm on Facebook at Brand with Kreda and Kreda McCullough. I do a lot of personal things on Facebook. I don't do a lot of my business. I do some business things, but people on Facebook seem to be a little bit fickle. So I stick to LinkedIn.
So you stick to LinkedIn. Yeah. So I know that you have a pretty robust menu of offerings. If somebody is interested in getting, to you, what would you say they're coming to you for? You're coming to me to blank.
Scale your brand. Scale your brand because of the caliber of client that I work with. Like, I don't work with the newer entrepreneur. I work with the entrepreneur who has been in business for 5 to 7 years. They're making $250,000 or more as a revenue. So, messaging has changed, something is stale. So they are ready to scale their brand. Make more money, multiply, all of that.
Multiply. In your perspective and in your life and all the things that you've done, because you had a huge pivot and now you're flourishing in this lane, which you clearly command. What does success look like to you?
Ooh. Success. Not having to make payment arrangements on any bills. That is success to me. To be able to pay everything outright is success to me. To be able to basically do anything that I want, go anywhere that I want, and make sure that my family is good, I'm good, we all good. That is success to me. Healthy, all of that. That's success.
And for somebody who's listening, because again, and they may be watching, and they may be fearful. We talked about fear. We talked about stepping out. I don't want to get all into my Bible stories, stepping out on the boat. All these things.
Right.
What advice would you give somebody who is kind of on the fence of, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can take this leap. I don't know if this leap is for me. What advice would you give them?
I know this sounds cliche, but it's so true. Do it and do it scared. That's it. If this is something that you really want, that you really want to pursue, just do it. I know
Look,
sounds cliche, but that's the only way I can think to say it is just do it and do it scared. Because if not, the consequences of not doing it is what? You still being in the same position and predicament that you were in.
And then you have this big backpack called regret.
Woo, child.
Yeah. So do it and do it scared. Kreda, thank you so much for being here and chatting with us. I hope you'll come back and give us some more nuggets of this, this branding life, because you're doing it and you're doing it well.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this, and I will absolutely come back.
Good. Good. I would love to have you. So that is Brand with Kreda. Listen, do it scared, do it afraid, do it dragging and pulling. And I think the takeaway is, if there's something that you want and there's somewhere that you want to get, what you have to put in your mind is just do it. Step out there. There's always a regroup. There's always something to learn about the success of what you did and about the opportunities of how you can make it a success if it wasn't the success that you wanted. Go to thephillipshow.com and learn more about Kreda. And for you, remember that you are the best you in the world. And I will see you next time on The Phillip Show.
Don't wait.